Hey guys, this episode of the Smoking Tire Podcast is brought to you by Private Internet Access. Listen, here's a secret for you. Private browsing mode on your phone is not really keeping you private. Private Internet Access, a VPN, will keep you private. You can use Private Internet Access to keep anything that you do online away from your internet service provider, hackers, or any snoopers. All your traffic goes through a secure VPN tunnel. Your IP address is hidden and your data is encrypted. Now, what that means is you are convincing the internet that you are someone else somewhere else, right? And that can be used for all kinds of ways, to hide your true identity, to hide your data from any snoopers, but also to watch geo-restricted content on streaming services that would otherwise be unavailable to you due to your location. Private Internet Access is available for all platforms, including iOS and Android, and you can use one subscription to protect up to 10 devices at the same time. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee in place, and only by using our link can you get complete digital privacy for less than $3 a month and 3 extra months for free. Now, the link, privateinternetaccess.com/tire. That's privateinternetaccess.com/tire. Now you get complete digital privacy for less than $3 a month and 3 extra months for free at privateinternetaccess.com/tire. We are also brought to you by Crown and Caliber. Crown and Caliber is the official watch retailer of the Smoking Tire Podcast. The thing is about watches, right? You almost never, unless it's some kind of new hot release, you almost never want to buy them new. There's all the value is in buying them used, secondhand. They're usually taken care of better than secondhand cars. They last even longer than cars, and they're very easy to service and maintain. Crown and Caliber has a staff of technicians on site to make sure that the watch they're selling you is in good working order, and they have a limited mechanical warranty for even if you have an issue later with your used mechanical watch. Now, go to crownandcaliber.com to get the best value in used pre-owned luxury watches from all the biggest brands: Rolex, Omega, Panerai, Patek, Audemars, etc., etc., etc. They've been with us for a long time, guys, and they really are taking good care of us and the people who listen to our show at crownandcaliber.com. We're also brought to you by Liquid IV. Now this, it sounds interesting, right? But they sent me a bunch of the Liquid IV. It's hydration amplifying stuff. Basically, people get dehydrated, right? No one drinks enough water. I get dehydrated. I actually just had to do a special 24-hour urine test because my muscle enzymes were indicating that I am dehydrated, right? But with Liquid IV, you've got the fastest, most efficient way to stay hydrated. Each serving helps you get as much hydration as 2 to 3 bottles of water. And I've tried it. It tastes pretty good, and it helps me. It actually did help me get, have energy throughout my workout. I did use it during my workout. With Liquid IV, you got the fastest, most efficient way to stay hydrated. It's packed with potassium, vitamin C, and other vitamins known to help your body defend against infections. Now, proper hydration can boost your immunity, right? And Liquid IV contains five essential vitamins, more vitamin C than an orange, and as much potassium as a banana. It's healthier than sugary sports drinks, and there's no artificial flavors or preservatives. There's less sugar than an apple. It's non-GMO, vegan, and free of gluten, dairy, and soy. So Liquid IV is available nationwide at Costco and Target, or you can get 25% off your purchase when you go to liquidiv.com and use code TST at checkout. That's liquidiv.com and code TST at checkout. 25% off of anything on the site at liquidiv.com and use code TST at checkout. ShipStation, guys. ShipStation. It does exactly the thing that it sounds like it does. It turns your home computer into a shipping station. The holiday season is right around the corner. This year, we know that people are going to be buying more stuff online than ever before. Why? Who's even having a Black Friday this year? Everything is going to be online. And are you ready to meet the demands of a record-breaking online shopping season? Well, you can be with ShipStation. Listen, when you're selling online, you get a massive amount of orders, and getting them out quickly can be tough. I know because I have tried to sell shirts myself and manage the product and ship it out, and it was terrible. How do you keep track of who gets what shipping carrier should use? Are you getting the best prices? That's why it's all about ShipStation.com. It's the fastest, easiest, and most affordable way to manage and ship your orders. In just a few clicks, you're managing orders, printing out discounted shipping labels, and getting your products out fast. The result? Happier holidays for you and your customers. ShipStation takes all the hassle out of holiday shipping. Now, right now, the Smoking Tire listeners can try ShipStation for free for 60 days when you use offer code TIRE. Make sure your business is ready to meet the demands of a massive online shopping season. Get started at ShipStation.com today and use offer code TIRE. You click the microphone at the top of the page and click TIRE. That's ShipStation.com, offer code TIRE, the microphone at the top of the page. You know how it goes. ShipStation.com, guys. Make ship happen. All right, folks, on this episode of the show, it is the triumphant return of one Chris Hayes, the founder of Shout Engine, the inspiration for us starting our podcast way back in 2011. We are talking about the internet. We are talking about implanting chips in people's brains, and we are talking about the fine-tuning of the C6 Corvette. It is Chris Hayes on the Smoking Tire Podcast. Here we go. Yeah, hardwiring.
I'm a big fan of hardwiring stuff.
I mean, I understand that. Yeah. Like these cameras, I'm okay with not being hardwired because they're like a foot away.
Yeah.
But like that computer to that TV being so far away, I'm like, we should make sure that's a wire.
Yeah.
Like a really good wire. It is actually boosted. It's a powered. It's got power.
See,
I've got
HDMI cables that are like a good half-inch, three-quarter-inch thick. That it's just like you could put them under the fucking Pacific and they'd be fine.
Well, we learned when we were setting up because the TVs in the lounge are supposed to show both my security camera monitors, which actually get bounced over from my office on a Balin, and also the show. So we could use the lounge as a green room and have the show feed go in there. But that is far enough. It's like 90 feet or so that we need a powered like bounce to do it over. It goes HDMI to Cat 5 back to HDMI.
I was going to say, are you doing the IP conversion?
Yes, we are.
Because that fixes everything. You can go 3,000 feet with that.
Yeah, it was either that or we needed this high-powered like booster device to do it, and it just seems
Here's the crazy thing is that if you really wanted to, you could boom that all the way to your house over IP.
That's a good point. But I could also just pull up the YouTube channel. I can also just type in the IP address on my... I have the software for that, too. Yeah. Welcome to the studio, dude.
Yeah, it's nice. It's a bit of an upgrade from where we started. I mean, we did... Let's see. We had the old house in Playa.
You know, So I don't have a lot of nostalgia for the office over here, although I like John, our old landlord. But the house in Playa was very charming.
There was just... I don't know, something in the air there, and I kind of know what it was that was in the air there. And it was just...
Dog hair and ganja smoke?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just, everybody was just like, it was just chilling out at the house. Or my favorite ones that really come to mind are like when Dan and like Aaron would come over.
Yeah.
Or my favorite, I think...
Bam.
Yeah.
Bam owned the night.
Bam was good. Those were really funny.
There was it was really a free-for-all shit show.
Oh, yeah. Nino on the board.
I tell people all the time that when you suggested to Zach and I that we started to do a podcast, I thought it was dumb because, quote, everybody's already doing that. And that was in 2011. Which
nobody was doing it.
No, like three people.
Comparison.
That's the same thing as someone saying to me, like, everybody's moving to Austin. It's like, no. Two high-profile people are moving to Austin.
Yeah. Two high-profile people are then telling everybody Los Angeles is dead and moving to Austin.
Yeah, it was Bill Burr and Rogan were doing podcasting in like 2009, but I don't know how big they were. It was just, they were just doing it.
Corolla Digital.
That's true.
Was the...
We had Corolla, you had Leo Laporte up north with Tech TV, which is, that thing is a monster. They've got a massive studio.
I know it's huge. I have never watched a tech YouTube video or podcast, but I know that people do.
Their production value is up to like a CNN level. It's pretty impressive.
Really?
Yeah.
But like, honestly, like Zach, I think in about 6 months of playing on this, if we enabled every feature we could get pretty close to.
Oh yeah, no,
really
no doubt.
To
This is
broadcast level news.
I mean, now that you get your lighting proper and you
Jay Ryan killing the game with the lighting in here.
You want to get that?
Look at that.
You want to get that?
The split screen.
Adversary. Chris versus Matt.
What's really
Part of the
cool right
interruption.
now is if Eric brought my laptop in right now, I could open my laptop here and Zach could wirelessly add it as a source without like interrupting the show.
Yeah,
Like, that's pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, that's nice.
They have come up with technology. Shout out to Switchercast.
Yeah,
for making
we've
good
we've
product.
come a long way in the podcasting world, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's funny?
What's that?
I just, like 2 weeks ago, sold the first PreSonus.
Oh, you
which
did?
was sitting in the closet at the old office, and I brought it home and it was part of Hannah's, like, Hannah was like, I could sell this. Hannah had a massive Craigslist
This sounds
event
like a
from
Hannah
the old
thing.
office.
This
Yeah.
sounds-
But we sold it to someone who is actually my physical therapist who started a podcast.
I mean, I still
Shout out to
swear
Santo.
by PreSonus audio gear. That's
It
still what I
worked
do for
fine. It
audio
was
stuff.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
We just had to get him a FireWire adapter for it
Yeah.
because it was OG.
The good news is you can go to the Apple store and that's $40.
Yeah, they have a FireWire to USB-C. They can bypass all the. You don't have to like daisy chain FireWire to Thunderbolt 1 to Thunderbolt 2 to USB-C.
That was the way it was for a little
Back
while.
to Thunderbolt, back to FireWire.
Well, for a long time, and in fact now, the one thing that remains, Chris Hayes, is that the entire sanctity of the show still depends on ultimately one plug.
Yeah.
One connection. That was always the thing, is that it was that FireWire port in your laptop. That was always like the dongle. If you touched it, it was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you had to be gentle.
And now we still
Still that
have
way.
this.
Yep.
Everything goes into this USB-C on the iPad Pro.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
this is where like I like that setup, but I've gone to doing like the Black Magic video switchers and everything
Yeah.
to where there is no computer that touches it, and when you want to stream, you just hit the stream button and it actually goes live.
Yeah.
It's more money up front, but there's no fuss with it, which is what I like.
Yeah.
This is more flexible,
Yes.
but I also like setting things up and not having a dick with them. That's kind of
True.
where I've gotten in my ripe old age now.
Yeah, I understand. Jay Ryan fucked with this stuff on his show for like a year and a half before recommending it to us and being like, yeah, this is like ready for the level of reliability that you guys need.
Yeah.
And so far so good, honestly. I
Yeah.
mean, like we looked into the more the more like hardware intensive stuff.
Yeah.
It gets expensive very quickly.
Yeah, the Blackmagic ATEM systems start at like $1,500 or something like that, and then you got to do.
Now you've got to get cameras.
Right.
Then you got to get cameras, but you can use regular camcorders for that too if you want to. If you're not using the broadcast ATEM stuff, you
Yeah.
can use the camcorders, and they do 4 sources.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy to switch them.
Yeah.
But you know,
This one, we've got a lot of options for adding shit.
It's pretty,
Yeah. It's
pretty
it's
good.
pretty
It's
seamless.
I
pretty
mean,
good.
that's the nice part about software is that it's always going to change. Versus you buy a hardware device and it is
Right.
what it is.
Yeah. Well, that's why the mixing board is pretty universal.
Still here. It's been
still
6 years, right?
Yeah.
It's good.
That's a good fucking board.
Yeah, we can run a concert off of this.
And actually, in our interim, we did like 6 weeks of shows with the Yeti Blue microphone.
Yeah.
Which, like, you know what? Dude, I did a show with Rob Ferretti on the rooftop of the windiest hotel in Whitefish, Montana. And like the dead cat on that thing was, I mean, it was going, and I was like, I don't know if this is gonna work, but it was just like this far away, but clear as a bell.
The thing I love these days is like you see all the people going into live news broadcasts and everything that are coming from Zoom, and it looks and sounds like shit, but we know how little work that actually takes to make it look decent, yet they're not crossing this very basic thing. And it's so funny to me, like you've got CNN and it looks worse than anything
Yeah,
we're
like
all
some like
doing
local
now.
broadcasts with like giant gear and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They still use those old big TV cameras, man. We go to races and we see these guys with cameras that are like 2.5 feet long with little packs all over them. And
Yeah.
then he'll be standing next to a guy who's got an A7S.
like a DJI on a gimbal with like
Sometimes
a
that.
little
Yeah.
antenna is like streaming.
Or the little A7 that's the size of your wallet, but has like a lens that's 2 feet long, and then like a microphone and like this
Yeah.
whole kit built out. It's kind of
Sony,
funny.
that new Sony A7 is dope. the new
Can the new one shoot
one?
like in like Vanta Black? It's so dark. You can
so much
shoot
ISO.
It's
ISO
that,
100,000.
like they're full frame now in a little tiny body, and they're just really nice, and they've come down a lot in price too.
The last time I looked, they were like $2,000. They still like that much?
I think they're down to like 12 or 1300.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. If you're actually getting an A7 like for 12, well, those are very expensive. Alpha, A7 Alpha, is that it? What's the new one?
I don't know.
A7 E mount with full frame sensor, $999 for the body.
Yep.
Wow.
There you go.
And then here's like a heavy hitting one for $3,500. A7S3 for $3,500.
It's a body only.
Zach, find out what ISO this goes to for $3,500. Because when we had the first A7S, ISO range from 40 to 409,600.
Yeah, but 409,600 looks like you're watching static on an old TV after the channel went off at night.
Yeah, but if you're shooting the Milky Way on like a tripod, like me and Thaddeus with the A7S got like some really good like celestial photography done with that.
But don't you just do longer exposure for that?
Yeah.
Versus cranking ISO?
Yeah.
It's just.
But
It's cool because you get all the trails from the stars.
Yeah.
Too.
With that ISO, what it's really good for is focusing in that dim light. You don't take the shot.
Right, yeah, totally.
You can focus, you can see, and then you can set the ISO, and now you get your long exposure. So you don't have to like fumble through this dark viewfinder. Like it's actually good for that.
It's like night vision if you crank it up high enough.
Yeah, and also like even if you don't use 400,000, like ISO 100,000 is like amazing. Is like full on night vision. No problem.
Well, I remember when you
grain,
went down I remember when you went down to South Central and you shot the street races.
Oh yeah, that was an interesting day.
And you were playing with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wasn't that on A7?
It was A7,
Yeah.
but it was bright enough because there were a lot of police lights around. that light wasn't as big of an issue.
I love how that was an idea to like chase that for like a couple of months afterwards, and then finally common sense kicked in of like, yeah, maybe this isn't a great idea.
No, I remember we got that camera because we shot that Aston Martin at night. And we shot the Jaguar
that's right.
F-Type downtown, and it was like, oh, wow,
Yeah.
this is a crazy video quality.
Yeah, that was like 2 a.m.
Yeah.
We mounted a camera to the outside of the car and drove up PCH, filmed like car to car at night. We were just like, I guess you can do this. And we didn't know anything or any better. It was like 2012.
We also filmed all night in the darkness on Angeles Crest.
Yeah, I remember that because you guys had lights and everything set up, right?
And no one gave a fuck. A cop even came by and was like, hi, and then just left.
Well, not only did we have lights, we had lights mounted to the top of a minivan in which we had a generator running to power the lights. So I drove the minivan while Matt drove the car, and then the generator pumped exhaust out the window, sort of, while Thad would shoot for like 2 minutes and we'd stop because he'd get a headache.
It was mildly shady.
It was great.
Incredibly
Dude,
shady.
the guts we had and the naivete of just like, you just do this. And then the first permit I got, I went, oh, there's a permit office?
Yeah.
What's that for?
It wasn't. Yeah, it was pretty unsafe. It wasn't like it was kind
It
of
wasn't
unsafe.
Tom hanging out the back of a Cobra.
That was very unsafe. No,
Yeah.
Tom hanging out of anything was very unsafe. But this wasn't. The lights were less unsafe, but my eyes, because they were shining them at me while I was driving. It was very.
wasn't
Did you have
great.
flashbacks of driving the Hummer with that?
It was really hard to see. Really hard to see. I had flashbacks yesterday. I saw someone driving an H1 just sitting in traffic on PCH and going.
Can you believe that brain's actually coming back as all electric now?
Well, it'd be a hell of a reposition, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would.
I mean, it's it's funny how they've repositioned electric from environmentalism to just massive power.
Yeah.
Well,
they had to because, like, I mean, look how many people were just like, oh, I'll never do that.
What do you got going on there, Zach?
Did not realize I would have audio. That was the Hummer video.
Oh, the Hummer V. I just saw that,
see crab
that it could
mode?
do crab walking.
Yeah, the crab walking is pretty
I've been
rad.
waiting for an EV that could do crab walking.
Yeah.
I figured, combine 4-wheel steering systems with EV motors. That was a logical next step.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That's a good party trick.
Well, the thing I like, too, is that you can do an independent motor on each wheel.
Yeah.
And, like, torque vectoring like we've never could have conceived of.
Yeah.
With
Cornering
a gas
speeds
motor.
are going to go up a lot with that.
Yeah.
You know what I really think GM should invest in? If they want to build a little social cred in exchange for bringing back Hummer as an unnecessarily torquey off-roading vehicle, They should make it. They should make one that's like full on joystick controlled, so that like paraplegics can easily.
I was
really
literally
easily
going to go
drive
the
it.
same way.
Ooh.
Right?
Yeah.
Like why? If you've got a car that's 100% drive by wire.
Yeah.
Why not spend the resources to have one that's just straight joystick from the factory?
I'll do you one better. The straw.
Oh, the bulb straw?
Yeah.
Well, I bet it's a lot easier to convert the cars to that now that you don't need to put an actuator on a gas pedal and an actuator on the brake pedal. Like, you know, the aftermarket solutions for that are also probably really good. But yeah, if you could just make it from the factory, like you check a box.
Right. Like,
hey.
dude, a 5-year-old could dock my dad's boat with the fucking joystick. Like, anybody could do it. If you could play an Xbox, you're good.
Yeah.
Like, not that being paralyzed is any way related to your, like, cognitive ability, but like, why not have a joystick? That would make so much sense. Especially with the crab walking.
Of course, we'll get
because you could twist.
We'll get Elon's Neuralink thing, and then you won't even have to touch it.
Yeah, in 50 years, maybe.
Bro. Oh, dude. No, you should not have chips in brains.
I will make one exception, though. Paraplegics. Because they can't. The only thing that's wrong is that electrical signal's broken. So if you can pick that up, you can walk again.
Okay, I will concede to a possible voluntary good use for that. Yeah, and I think all right, but I think there's just too much. It's not good.
I know we're gonna go there because people have always been trying to optimize themselves. Like we used to sell snake oil in like the 1800s and go, this will make you feel better and get rid of your headache and all these other things.
And then they did it with heroin.
Right, and then they did it with opium,
And then we
which
did it
actually
again
worked.
with bleach.
Is
Right,
your
we do it with
child
everything.
sneezing?
You know,
Heroin.
caffeine, all that stuff. Like they will try to do it, but the first 100 years of it or 50 years are going to be bad.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that trial and error guinea pig.
No, and also you don't want. I don't think you want to be into a society where that's widely accepted. And point of parliamentary procedure, Zach, the Hayes lower third is up across every shot in the show, not just Chris's shot. Is it possible to just put it on Chris's shot?
You have to manually activate it and turn down. As far as I know,
We're learning.
But it's kind of behind the microphone here, so I couldn't see that it was still.
Oh, it's like you position it in front of the check engine light.
Yeah. I put tape over the high beams light, but I didn't know that my check engine light went on.
No, like Demolition Man, people having chips in them is bad.
It'll happen in China first, though, because they're doing all kinds of crazy experimentation on brain shit there. Like, you can go and, like that transcranial magnetic stimulation stuff that they do for certain, like, personality disorders and depression and stuff like that.
Is that electroshock therapy? Is that a kinder way of saying electroshock therapy?
No, because it's
transcranial magnetic stimulation.
It's magnets, so it's not current going in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. It's magnetism as opposed to actual electrical current.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like.
Do they put a magnets like that, like stick to opposite sides of your head and just press inwards until they punch a hole in your brain?
Not quite, but like.
That's the hydraulic press channel. That's different.
Neil Brennan's got an interesting video where he did it, and they're taking that way farther in China to where there's a lot of procedures available, and like there's like
by available, do you mean mandated by the government? I'm just saying.
Not quite, but you know, you get people now that are actually doing, they're kind of medical tourists that are going for that kind of procedure there, because China's got an interesting thing in that they're kind of like, hey, if you want to do something to your body, go ahead.
Oh, great! I love countries like that.
And if we want to do something to your body, we'll go ahead.
Exactly.
And you might wake up with a kidney missing, by the way.
But I think that's where we'll end up with.
What's this thing supposed to do if you get the magnets to the brain?
Apparently, it's really good for treating like depression and various other things like that. And it just screws with kind of the electrical signaling and kind of reboots the brain, from what I understand. So.
David Blaine was talking about the rebooting of the brain after drowning. Did you listen to David Blaine? He's a really interesting guy, actually. I think he's a lot more interesting than most people give him credit for. But he was talking about how most people, like how you can basically train yourself to drown safely. If there's a team there to recover you, you can black out underwater. And then if they get you out of the water very fast, you won't die.
Why would you want to do this?
Because you're doing
Other than
Houdini.
a
Because you're
performance.
doing
It's a very
like Houdini,
specific
like,
kink, Zach.
yes.
Well, I mean, yeah.
That's the other reason.
Yeah. You know, we hear about the guys with the hotel room doors and the belts. This is just a very extreme version of that.
Yeah, unfortunately, yes. But no, he was doing it for like, stage magic purposes.
It tricks your brain so that your brain doesn't die when you like asphyxiate underwater?
Yeah, basically. It keeps you alive longer when that happens. Like if someone's there to rescue you, like you will be okay.
Well, that reboot, that's like, they say that with like
happens.
The ayahuasca, the ketamine, all of that shit is all supposedly just like blank slate, clean, restart all that stuff.
That makes sense when I think about the kind of people I know who were drawn to those two drugs. People really looking for that blank slate.
Yeah.
Speaking of drugs, can I make a recommendation? Common knowledge dictates that sativa weed is the daytime weed and indica weed is the nighttime weed. Mm-hmm. I completely disagree. I have now switched away from sativa weed entirely in the last 2 weeks because my anxiety was getting out of control. Because sativa weed combined with coffee is like doing cocaine and then speed at the same time.
It's like doing cocaine in a police department.
Yeah.
Yes,
I mean, the only way to move up from there is like Red Bull on rails.
Right. It's exactly like doing cocaine in a police department. That's about right. So I've eliminated all sativa weed and gone only with indica weed. And I am not like tired or anything during the day. I'm still getting everything done. I'm still doing, but I don't feel as anxious. So I think sativa weed maybe not just is the daytime weed.
Do you feel more of the body high, like people say you do with indica, or are you just more like physically stoned without being mentally stoned?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like the old pork commercials. Indica, the other day weed.
Yes. Shout out to Tradecraft Farms, which is the official ganja of the Smoking Tire podcast.
Oh, you have a weed sponsor now.
The dream
2020 is not terrible for everybody, Chris.
Yeah.
We have a cool new studio and a weed sponsor. It's all right.
The funny thing is 2020 for me has been exactly the same as it has been for years. Working out of my house,
from home,
grinding away on projects.
Well, we were talking about this in the last show. Like everyone who's now working from home is really just adjusting to our schedules. Yeah.
People are like, "How do you not talk to somebody for like weeks?" And I'm like, easy.
Yeah.
You stay busy.
Yeah. You'll get used to it.
That's the best part, really.
It's actually, well, if you're working from home, you're either going to have trouble getting to work or trouble getting away from work.
Yeah.
That's really, it's going to be one of those extremes.
I mean, that's, when I moved down to San Pedro, I mean, that was a major reason why I wasn't doing the show anymore, because it turned into a 2+ hour drive.
Yeah. Well, I understand that.
17 miles, 2+ hours. Yeah. It was ridiculous.
Speaking of driving, I saw the Macan outside.
Yep.
That's a great daily. Good choice.
Yeah.
But you offhandedly said you still had your Corvette.
I do have the Vet.
And you said, wait till you hear what I've done to it. So
yeah. So I've been going a little crazy on that. I have basically learned all kinds of crazy suspension tuning stuff over the last year and a half.
Uh-huh.
And I have been doing things like dialing in Ackerman angles. And I've gone to...
Did you read that thick-ass book Thaddeus had? Is that what happened? Was that the chassis dynamics for very smart people? And it was like 1,000 pages?
I did not read that, but I probably effectively did over time.
So is it really just a series of fine-tunings, or did you do anything crazy with the car?
So the craziest thing I've done is I have converted the C6 over to C7 knuckles all the way around.
Uh-huh.
So now I can run C7 brakes and everything on it.
Oh,
which is a nice upgrade because those Brembos out of the box are really good brakes.
Yeah, that's cool.
C6 brakes are garbage, even the Z06 ones. But the big thing is that I had the knuckles machined so that I pick up an additional 18 degrees of steering angle on the front.
Oh, just because material is out of the way?
Yeah.
But does that affect the structural integrity of a part?
No, there's so much meat there to the aluminum that like if you're breaking that, it's game over anyway.
Okay.
So what do you remove to add more angle? Like I know that people cut knuckles, so then they're it's a shorter arm, so it just allows for more rotation.
I've done that, right? Okay. It's like 1.25 inches shorter. Mm-hmm. The other thing that's been done is that basically where the tie rod end comes in, it's been clearanced so that doesn't run into the knuckle. So the biggest problem I have right now that I got to take care of is I got to take care of the brake vents on that car actually will hit the tires when it's at lock.
Oh, because it has way too much angle.
Yeah.
So is the did you just add more angle for turning radius's sake?
Turning radius, yeah. I mean, I'm not a drifter. I mean, like I like sliding around every now and then, but I don't have the aspirations to be, a pseudo pro drifter. It's a lot of angle, but the biggest thing is that I sped up the steering rack by 2x.
Okay, so you did that too. Yeah, right.
which makes a huge difference. It's the same ratio now as a 488.
So it's
that's very direct.
Yeah.
Is it a little darty on the highway?
No, it's not too bad, actually.
Okay, what tires do you run in the front?
So right now, what did I switch over to? I was going to run Cup 2s, but they were not available for months on end. They were all back ordered.
Yeah.
So I can't remember which BFs I put on there, but they're like, a lot of people are like, they're just a notch below Cup 2s. Mm-hmm. So I put some BFs on there. And like I said, I would have rather gone with the Cups, but they were back ordered for 6 months.
I'm not the biggest fan of Cups because they just don't last.
No.
They just, I've never seen them last more than 1,500, 2,000 miles. They're just gone.
I'm lucky if I put 2,000 miles on that car a year.
Oh, all right. Well, then have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, the PS4 is just
the PS4S
so
gets
so
you 95%.
Yeah.
Like same car I did at the track.
Yeah.
It was like 4 or 5 tenths a lap, which, I mean, I'm not really sure that's very noticeable on the street. I mean, I just don't think so. And the PS4s, to me, they just last longer. And
I couldn't get them in the size I needed.
that is another problem.
Yeah.
Though. That's a different problem.
I actually had to swap out my wheels because...
Do you have to run a different tire at the front and the rear?
No.
Oh, thank
no, that's
God.
part of the reason I swapped back to a factory Z06 size because 18s all around, you can't get tires for the vet anymore.
Oh yeah, you still got the same wheels. Those you run 18s all around.
So I was, but I had to swap over to a stock size on the rear to a 19
for the brakes.
Not for the brakes, actually. It's just because tire sizes aren't available. Like it's almost impossible to find a 335 18 now.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's getting so big.
335 18. What would that even go on? I mean, was that a Viper tire, like an old Viper, like
Vipers,
a 01 Vipers, maybe
Vipers,
GTSs,
and like people that did, that put a bigger tire on their vet. That's
what, man?
What about maybe Porsche turbos from
back then?
997 turbos or 996
Even then,
turbos.
those were only like 305s or 315s.
Yes, all-wheel drives. Yeah. The 964 turbo might have even had a bigger rear tire.
Might have
because it was rear
big sidewall.
drive. Yeah. But it was like, but it was like a 16 or a 17.
I think there were 17s, yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I had to ditch wheels just to be able to buy tires.
Well, how big are the C7 brakes? Would 18s fit over them?
Let's see. The fronts, they fit with 18s just fine because the front's still an 18 on the diameter. So it's a 13.5-inch rotor. So it's got plenty of clearance on it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's not an issue.
18s are great.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't want like rubber band sidewalls. I had rubber band sidewalls on the Fiesta.
No, it sucks balls.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
I love that Fiesta.
Sidewall is good.
But I officially got too old for driving around in the Fiesta.
I know exactly what
Did you get pulled over for that? And they're like, sir.
Once I sold my
No.
Focus
You're 38.
RS, I was like, no more hatchbacks. We're good now.
I love
Really
hatchbacks
still
because
am.
I just love how darty and small they are. But like the ride on the Fiesta after I'd done you guys went kind of crazy with the Fiesta that you bought. I went full retard with that.
No, yeah. If we did it again, I would not touch the suspension at all. I would leave the suspension totally stock, do that little Cobb power kit, and do that the motor mount, and that was it.
Yeah, my problem
You went
was
the whole thing.
Oh, I did everything.
Yeah.
I did bushings. Zach helped me out with a little
That was
bit.
a
of it.
nightmare.
Yeah,
I don't think bushings
Wasn't
is
your
the
fault, it was
answer
the
for a
manufacturer's
street car.
I did it. So I did it on the Vet now, right? But the difference is I went to Delrin bushings instead of doing Heim joints all the way around. Mm-hmm. And so I went with the Delrins, but they're Teflon impregnated. So they're nice and silky smooth and they're self-lubricating and there's like no maintenance.
I did the Delrins on the Fox body, and they were nice.
Yeah.
That was good. I mean, compared to, I don't know, no bushings or
I mean, the
whatever
hard thing is
fuck
like
whatever I bought that thing with. It was
Made out of
fucking-
like horse bones
Yeah,
back
like
then.
who knows?
Yeah.
Horse bones.
I don't know.
But you got to balance it with suspension, right? Because like a lot of race cars are compliant, but there's solid mounted bushings.
Yeah,
But the problem
yeah.
now is the suspension's stiff, and you put stiff bushings on.
But race
you know.
cars don't have to clear driveways.
Yeah.
Like the problem is like when my Vet, which had full bushings and they were poly bushings, not Delrin, but it would creak like a
Totally. Yeah.
motherfucker, and it's like,
Yeah.
you don't want your street car
No.
doing
Well,
that
that was
shit.
the trick that, and I think you were there when I did it. Is when I did the poly bushings on the Fiesta, I drilled out the control arms and put Zerk fittings in there, so you could, anytime you did an oil change, you just took a grease gun, squirt a little grease in there. No
Because that's the
squeaking.
thing is everyone when I did my bushings, they're like, oh, you got to get the the copper filament like lube for them. Put that on first. It's like, yeah, it's for some people it lasts a long time. For some people it goes away. So they could creak in 6 months, or they could creak in 1 month, or they could never creak. If you have some sort of if you have the fitting where you can then grease it, that's
I feel like
awesome.
if you drive the car a lot, it stops creaking, and if you don't drive the car for like a week, it starts creaking again.
Yeah.
That happened with the Corvette. When I would drive it a bunch, they would like grease up, and then when I would sit, it
that
wouldn't.
grease might have just been getting dry too.
Maybe, who the fuck knows?
Yeah.
But that's the challenge.
Someone
with
tried
it,
to sell that car back to me again. They're like, don't you want it? I'm like, no. What are you talking about? Get the fuck, get that thing out of here.
You had it for 15 years?
I had it for 18 years.
Right. You did the thing.
Sufficient.
Yeah.
I've had mine for
That's sufficient.
actually just 8 years on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're great cars.
Yeah.
But like, once either you continue to do what you're doing, like ongoing, modification, always changing it.
It's a project.
It's a project to
you
keep
know?
it interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. At a certain point, you have to go, do I want to tweak this?
Yeah.
Or do I want a completely different thing entirely?
It's different when like I'm doing the work on it, so it doesn't cost me that much. It costs me it's whatever parts are.
Holy shit, little wheel well page. Look at you, Zach.
It was the first thing that popped up that had your vet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good SEO for them, I guess.
Yeah.
It was a nice car while I had it. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just like, I'm never putting racing harnesses in a car ever again.
No,
that's a mistake. and a vet in LA is really low. It's a tough car to drive in LA. They scrape.
Do you remember mine's about 3/4 of an inch higher than stock?
Oh yeah, you raised yours.
I lifted mine a little bit.
Yeah.
That's the move.
It's totally the move.
I'm surprised you haven't gone aftermarket on the button yet.
What on the
Nose lift.
I would like to,
Ooh.
but it limits your options a lot.
With what suspension you're using?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I've got
I don't know
Bilsteins
the
now,
details of it.
but I think I'm
As
probably
usual, speaking without having direct knowledge.
I'm split right now between going Feel or Fortunato for my new coilovers.
Feel does good stuff.
Feel does good things,
I
I
don't
think.
know
Yeah.
either one.
I
that
don't
well.
know the specifics of either of their sets, but
Yeah. Feel's supposed to be a little nicer on the street. My goal is I don't want to drop it at all. And the problem is most of the coilover kits, including the KWs and everything, they're all
Lower
a
it,
drop.
yeah.
I don't want that.
I got into not like an argument or anything, but I was kind of like when KW made those dynamic coilovers for the Focus RS, the highest ride height was a 1/2 inch below stock, and I was like, hey guys, we need the stock ride height to be the highest. Like
Yeah.
I'd like the control without the lowering, and they were like, why? And I'm like, because it's a rally car, guys. Like
Well, and because it's a daily, like it needs to be useful.
Yeah,
And when I do
and-
suspension, I want it to stay the stock ride height because speed bumps, curves, all kinds of stuff.
And the point was to soften the car. The point wasn't to lower the car. So
Like-
ultimately, they did. They did. They did.
Yeah, I remember,
They
yeah.
redesigned the shocks, and now they're like amazing.
I had so they own ST suspension too, which is basically just KWs with cheaper shock bodies on them. And I had those on the Fiesta, and they were great for like the first year, and then they just the valving and everything went to shit on them.
The low budget entry level version of the stuff. Like I just had this Royal Enfield motorcycle, which is a nice little bike actually. It's made in India, and it looks like a British bike. It's a British-ish branding, and the whole style looks like a Triumph Bonneville.
How insulting is that for the Indian people? They're like, here, now imitate us.
Yeah. But it's got the Brembos that are like the Brie. Have you seen those? BYBRE.
Okay.
I don't know how you pronounce that, but it's like the entry level not Brembo that's like Brembo designed but cheaper hardware or something.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, it's called BYBRE. I wonder if there's a picture of the brake.
The Beavers.
It's written on the front brake caliper, but I just found it to be kind of funny that it was like a budget brand of Brembo.
Well, it's like you go to a store and they're like, this is the Nordstrom by Calvin Klein toothbrush. And like, how much influence did Calvin Klein have? Like, well, his name's on it. Like, okay.
The Eddie Bauer Ford Explorer.
Yeah, I mean, I bet Brembo
amount.
produces it or has a say in it, like manufacturing, because they make so many brakes.
Yeah.
Like, they are definitely the biggest manufacturer of brakes.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just their lowest step.
And they're like,
So,
we're not putting.
we can't call it Brembo if it's not very good.
It's the Dino of.
Yeah, it is. But that means in 60 years,
brakes.
everyone's gonna be like, these are the good brakes.
I had the CEO, Dan, I can't remember his last name. I had the CEO of Brembo on a few times when I was doing the SEMA shows. And yeah, the cool thing is for the CEO of a company, like, he actually really fucking loves his cars. So it's not
sure
like
he does.
just a guy running a conglomerate. He actually likes his stuff. He was all geeking out. He had just bought a new turbo right then.
Nice.
Yeah, so, yeah.
I mean, look, they make a nice piece of hardware, but they also make some lower end stuff as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
And this was that was a $6,000 Indian motorcycle. Considering the price, we made a video. Zach and I went out and filmed it. Considering the price, it's quite lovely. Doesn't it make a nice sound?
It does. Yeah, it sounds good.
really cool. Like, just riding it down the freeway is like a very it's got like a really satisfying sound. It's fun to ride. It's not like fast, but it's like
It's
great
basic.
for
It's probably not really going to break. There's not much to it.
well, it's got certain design elements, like I read in the PDF file. Like, it's designed with certain approach and departure angles and like clearance, like for India, like for Indian roads. Like, so it's a cafe racer style bike, but it's designed like to be able to like survive like fairly shitty road.
So that's why it
conditions.
sits a little higher, maybe?
Yeah, that's why it sits a little higher, and that's why like all the elements to service the bike are like on the outside, so you could just service everything like from the outside. Like, it's pretty simple and straightforward. It's a pretty cool bike.
Yeah, I did a lot of business in India over the last couple of years, and it's just like, yeah, their traffic's fucked.
Did you go over there?
Yeah.
Is it? Alex Royce keeps telling me that I have to go because the road system is just insane.
Yeah, there are no rules. There are none.
Yeah.
You know, it makes driving in Los Angeles seem tame.
Yeah, but like it kind of works.
It does. But, you know, I think that's pretty much all the Asian countries with the scooters and everything.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just like chaos.
Yeah.
Speaking of, you don't still have the scooter, do you?
So, not that scooter. So the Yamaha Zuma 125 that I bought from you.
Yeah.
I rode it until December of last year.
Really? You rode it that long?
Oh, yeah. And I sold it to my trainer, Nick, who rode it until about 2 weeks ago, and he sold it at a profit. I sold it to him for like $1,300. I think I bought it from you for $1,600, or maybe
16 or 17.
something like that. And then
I bought it for 19 2 years prior to
right.
that.
And then so I rode it for 6 years and sold it for $1,300 to like under market, but just like, here you go. For $1,300, I figured, what the fuck?
What are you going to do? Quibble over a couple hundred bucks?
He rode it for 6 months and then sold it for $2,000.
What? Wow.
He just sold it for $2,000.
You know, the funny thing
Well
is
done,
that
Nick.
I think I saw it, because every once in a while
probably have
I'll
seen
look
it.
at Craigslist and just see what scooters are kicking around, because
Yeah.
I entertain the idea every once in a while, and then I remember, oh yeah, people used to spit on me from the scooter, so I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Seriously?
No, but
Oh,
now I sold it because I got a Vespa 300.
Yeah, that's a big
Which is
bump.
fucking the shit.
Yeah.
The Vespa 300 is now I'm diehard on this thing.
Yeah.
It goes 90.
Yeah.
So it's got the cargo box. It's bright green. It's like a metallic like Viper green. It's
Okay.
really, really cool.
The surprising thing with the Zuma, though, is that if you got on a flat piece, like 55 or 60 if you were all the way cranking.
But I didn't. But I wanted freeway.
Yeah.
I wanted freeway, and this Vespa 300 is a great freeway bike.
I'd be a
And-
little nervous with them on the freeway, but
No.
I get
This
it.
one, the 300 has a bigger chassis. It's like 15%
so it's a little-
bigger.
still a little more stable.
Bigger wheels, bigger brakes, better tires.
Yeah.
It's a water-cooled engine.
Oh, no
it has
shit.
a USB port to charge your phone. You know, it's a much nicer thing.
I think if I was going to get another scooter, I'd want to go electric on the next one.
You know, the electric Vespa was the idea of it was so appealing to me, but it's only as fast as the 50. And it has like
Yeah.
a 40 mile. It's just not.
There's like a couple of options that are made in China now that are like the equivalent to like a 125, 150.
That could be cool.
But they're not here yet, and they're a little pricey. But like to never have to maintain them other than tires.
I serviced the scooter you sold me once.
Yeah.
Never maintained them.
That's the beautiful thing with the Yamaha, though, is they just go forever.
Same thing with the maintenance schedule on my Vespa is like pretty mellow too. But for electric, I've got the vintage electric bicycle, the Scrambler, 75-mile range, 35-mile-an-hour top speed. This thing fucking mobs. It's like riding a MotoGP bike. And it's not about 35 top speed. It's about how fast it accelerates from like 18 or 19 to 35. That shit's crazy. But this thing smokes through brake pads like nothing.
It's heavy. It's very heavy.
Yeah, it's 85 pounds of steel. And it fucking smokes through brake pads, but it's so fast. It's so fun.
I finally bought like a decent welder like 6 or 8 months ago. So like I've been doing some light fab work out of the garage.
Please tell me you're building a lowrider bicycle to ride on the beach.
Not a lowrider, but I've really been looking at building like a crazy electric, like something that's got kind of a long floor pan so I can just shove it full of batteries, but then have like, just kind of like some hard boxes in the radiator.
You're talking about a bicycle, right?
No, scooter.
Electric scooter.
Yeah,
okay.
But more or less using bike parts, so it stays.
So would it
cheap.
end up looking kind of like a Ruckus, or more like an e-bike?
More like a Ruckus.
Okay.
More like a Ruckus.
What if you just buy a Ruckus and take it apart? And take the powertrain out of it.
Put turbo on it.
I've thought about buying like a wrecked
awesome.
scooter and just chopping it up and doing that. It's just a matter of fitting a bunch of batteries in it.
Right.
That's the big thing. So
I think you could just buy a Ruckus and take the fucking engine out of it.
The original,
The big Ruckus.
The
If you could
big
find
Ru-
a big, but they're
big
really
Ruckus are
expensive.
rare.
I know they're really expensive. I thought about buying one when I was cross shopping for the
they're like
Vespas.
$5,000 for one with 20,000 miles on it.
Oh man,
They're
they
very
don't look comfortable either.
They're very expensive and very terrible looking.
You see, what's that British dude that does the I'm gonna build this crazy thing?
Colin Firth?
Yeah, he made a drift trike, but he made it with like a way bigger battery than everybody else and a way bigger frame than everybody else, and it went like 70 miles an hour on a runway. It was
sketchy.
bananas, but it was super
Very
cool.
sketchy.
Yeah, I think he drove it at a Formula E race and did like a before
A
race.
demo
Yeah, I
lap.
saw
Like a
him.
demo
I
lap,
saw
but
him
it was
spin out doing like
fast.
60 something on a trike.
Yeah,
Really?
that was it.
There's no way his pants were clean after that run.
So rad.
There's no
It'd be
way.
such a good time. The new Z just debuted, like literally while we were sitting here.
I was okay.
Really?
Yeah, they literally
I'm
live
sorry,
broadcast
but-
while we were sitting here.
Is it? Okay, the back is better than the front. Can we acknowledge the back is better than the front?
Yeah, the
It
Front
does.
looks like a. Can I say it's a very lazy rendering improvement of the 370Z?
Yeah, the biggest thing is the squared grill.
I think
Like after all that,
I think the profile is great, but the front grille rectangle, it's like the whole car is kind of round, and then this is like a ruler straight.
You know what it
Yeah.
is? That's if a 370Z and an ND Miata combined.
yeah. Oh wow, you can't unsee that. Those are ND Miata headlights, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
Oh boy,
Just
they
bigger.
are. Yeah, I mean, oh wow.
I like the shape.
Yeah, it's not bad
Parts
looking.
of it.
It's just
that front.
It's not an
Not a
unattractive
big-
car, but it's not like it's a whole ground up redesign.
That
It's not a totally new shape.
This is
it?
Nissan's
but-
first new car of anything in like what, 12 years?
First Z in 12 years. The last one, the 370 came out in
I mean, they
08.
haven't refreshed anything else in their lineup. It's so stagnant.
Look, we're doing the best we can with
look,
$50.
I understand. Pull up a picture on the side of like a 70s 240Z because
exactly.
that's where the square comes from in the front.
Okay.
But I don't know if it works with the rest of the design.
It's also where the back comes from. Like you can.
Yeah, which that looks really
Actually,
good.
the square isn't. That's not a square. Where
It's
is that
kinda
big
there.
mount? Oh, there, top right.
Yeah,
the
top-
72,
Yeah.
like race car
Good call.
modified. That's where it's from.
But normally there's a bumper that goes across it that breaks it up.
So when you remove, it's removing the bumper.
And
that does it.
I would say that on this 72 Datsun, which is a very good looking car, otherwise that grille also looks very strange.
That one looks like it's got a ducktail on it too.
Yeah, but I don't know about that square nose. That might not be it, but like,
Because if you look at like the profile in the back now, this 72, and then if you jump back over to
yeah, I
this,
see it.
the same, like it just drops.
I mean, it
goes
could be
straight back.
deceptive. It could look much nicer in person.
I see it. I don't know. Is it weird that I was expecting like more of a different car?
I don't think it's. They've evolved this car very slowly.
Did
This is
they-
the 7th generation, and it's
No,
if you look at the first gen of
they've
69,
not evolved it very slowly. I don't think that's accurate. I think they evolved it very slowly for a while, and then they evolved it pretty rapidly through the 90s, 80s, 90s, and well, man, that was a long time, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And the
How
80s
long did
was
they build
pretty
the
similar
ZX,
to
the roundy ZXs for? 5, 8 years, maybe.
Yeah, like 19. That was like 1990.
And then they
came
went
out.
dormant for what?
And then they did
10 years?
5 years. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. My initial reaction is disappointment, but that's just my initial reaction.
Twin
And I
turbo
haven't seen it in
V6,
person.
I'm sure.
Yes, and it did say manual gearbox.
Correct.
What's the power numbers?
400 horsepower, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I think it's called the 400Z. So
It's gonna be 400 horsepower or the high threes probably. I mean, look, it's not ugly. I'll give them that. It's not ugly.
No.
I'll wait and see on that nose, but it's not an ugly car.
And Rocket Bunny will make a wide body tomorrow.
Yeah.
You know.
I just
and then
what's
Liberty
the guy?
Walk will go, oh yeah, and they'll make a wider body.
I just met the guy who came to the open house. He's got he makes wide bodies here in California. I can't remember the name of his company, but he was very nice. Oh, there's that electric Vespa. Yeah. But Zach, do we have like questions because it's live? Did that
People
happen?
have asked questions. For some reason, the super chat did not turn itself on.
Really? So it's not automatic.
Yeah.
Well, if it's
And
not
there's
for
no
money, fuck it.
But oh well, someone asked what we think of the new Z, so we just answered.
Well, that covers that. Yeah. There you go. Oh yeah. Oh, there's a all right. So that works, kind of, huh? Yeah. The picture looks nice. We shot. Zach and I shot our first video in 4K.
Yeah.
The other day, 'cause I got for the first time in 4 years, I got new GoPros. I got the GoPro 8 Blacks. They were on sale. I don't know if I'm entirely sold on them yet. The mount, they have a mount built into the camera. These little flappy guys that fold down.
Yeah.
Kind of flimsy.
You know, I've actually experimented. I bought, when I did SEMA last year, which thank Christ there's no SEMA this year. First time in 10 years I haven't been.
Well, thank you for you, but now thank you for all the vendors that wanted to go and sell parts.
Yeah. A little upset for them, but yeah, whatever.
Like, you could just opt not to go.
Yeah,
I
Chris.
could. The SEMA setup is
Chris is like,
crazy.
thank God they canceled the whole thing.
You're like, oh, my abusive girlfriend got stuck in Boston. Her flight didn't come through. Thank God. I have one night of safety. It's like, you just break up with her.
That's a little too close to reality sometimes. But yeah, SEMA has grown crazy with our setup. You haven't been in a few years, have you?
No, because I volunteered to not go.
Yeah.
I've decided that I now I have a good excuse to not go. I think I might never go to Vegas ever again now. It's great.
Meanwhile, I'm doing so much business in Vegas right now.
Are you?
Yeah.
I actually think I have to go to Florida though, which might be worse. No, it's not worse. But we're shooting Sorted in Florida. Did we talk about Sorted? We should talk about Sorted.
Yeah. You doing something with Freddie or something?
Yeah, it's me, Rob Ferretti, and Amelia Hartford. And we are shooting. It's a tuner car show. People are submitting their cars at sortedornot.com. Can you pull up the website? We've got over 100 submissions that are viable right now. We're filming it, I believe, in Florida. The Florida wave is, I want to say it's September 29th and 30th, 28th, 29th, 30th. And then the California wave is 2 weeks after that. I believe it's like October 14th. At Chuckwalla, and so
Been out there in a long time. Jesus.
oh yeah, it's nice. Chuckwalla's
good.
great.
Great
It's
track.
really
It really is.
nice.
Have they put a facility there and everything?
Oh, yeah.
now?
No, now they have like cabins you stay in. We shoot Proving Grounds there, which, is now airing again. It's back on NBC Sports.
Oh, is
Please go
it?
watch that shit, and it's on YouTube Premium.
Nice.
But yeah, Chuckwalla's gotten a lot better, and it's a really fun flowing track.
And it's one of the best looking tracks for filming TV in Southern California.
I remember when we went out there with Harris and
Yeah.
JF and
2015.
everybody.
Yeah.
And I had to limp the broken C7 back.
Oh yeah.
But we all got back
the
real
C7.
fast.
Yeah.
I hyper-miled that fucker.
But anyway, Sorted, if you want to submit your car at sortedornot.com, we've got Palm Beach International Raceway is going to be the thing. So there's going to be a street ability test. There's going to be a straight line acceleration test, and then there's going to be a dynamic racetrack test by our
Boy,
as yet
you're going to
unnamed-
get different cars between here and there.
we've got some really interesting submissions, and I meant to call Rob Ferretti back, but some businessy things came up, and I didn't have to call him later because we have to go through the list and talk about what's what. but it should be. He said the variety is just staggering of what's
I mean,
submitted.
well, I did my 9 years in Florida, and it was just like streetability is a different thing there because there are no bumps,
Right.
There are no corners,
Yeah.
there's nothing. So like, you could strap a motor to a radio flyer and it'd be fine, and it would pass, and you could put a tag on it.
And it has
there.
enough suspension on it. Yeah, you
Yeah.
can put a tag on it.
There's
Well, I
no
don't know
rules
if this.
there.
I don't know if everyone is specifically coming from Florida. Like that's
okay.
where we're having the
Okay.
East Coast Regional is at Palm Beach. So I don't know if I don't know where these folks are coming in from. You know, you obviously have to be willing to get yourself to the regional.
You should do a
It's brought to you by Auto Tempest,
powered
by the way, who's the
window.
sponsor of the Smoking Tire
You should do a
podcast.
powered window functionality test. You should do tests.
Yeah.
Like
The AC
of
test is key there.
AC, like
AC, yeah.
how many check engine lights come on when you turn this thing?
Yeah,
on,
for sure.
because you're gonna like
that's the thing.
somewhat
It's
of a reliability
because
test.
the premise isn't just what's the fastest tuner car, although that's kind of the baseline, right?
Mm-hmm.
The premise ultimately is everyone says, "Oh, did they announce? Oh, I guess he announced it. Tanner's our driver."
Oh, okay.
So I don't know. I guess because I wasn't supposed to say it, but I guess if Rob put it on the website,
It's on the website.
fair game.
It's live.
it's on the website. It's fair game. So yeah, Tanner is very excited.
It's another
to
person
drive.
I haven't seen in several
So that's
years.
the thing. If you enter at sortedornot.com with your car, the race it's I'm doing the street ability test. And Tanner is going to be setting the lap time. So you're going to get a proper evaluation from Tanner Faust.
Wow.
If you make it to the regionals. Oh fuck! I got distracted by the thing.
We were doing questions.
No. About this show. It's based on the premise that everyone says their car is fully sorted, but a lot of the times, fully sorted, when someone says
a
that,
relative term.
It's a relative term, and also like, what have you learned to work around? You know what I mean? Like, oh, you got to do this weird thing when you start it, but like, but you know how to do it.
You got to flick
so
your
it's
headlights
okay.
on and off 4 times.
Right,
and
yeah, whatever.
The heater's going to be on full blast.
Whatever it is. So
Yeah.
the point of this show is you got to hand the keys to me. No tips.
Yeah.
Just give me the keys and walk away. So I'm not going to like fucking beat the piss out of everybody's car. That's Tanner's job. My job is to see what works and what I can do and if I can drive it without any special instructions.
Boy,
That's-
do I not envy Tanner for that job.
He was so about this.
Was
it
he?
took zero convincing for him to do this. He's got a little bit of time right now. Racing, whatever racing he's involved in isn't happening right this
And
second.
he's probably not doing much in the way of filming either.
Right.
He's doing a little bit of filming, but he's doing some racing, and he bought a cabin in Big Bear, and he's been flying around in his plane, getting videos of the fire and putting them on his Instagram. If you pull up his Instagram, there's videos of the fire from his plane. He has a cool little prop plane,
Yeah.
and he lives down in South OC, like most of the way to San Diego.
Yeah, I saw him right after he had
There,
bought
I
that.
think it's right there, the second row. Look at this. He's got flying through fires to Big Bear, and it's just chalked on there. Pretty wild.
It's like, where does the smoke end and the clouds begin?
Apparently, it ends there. It ends at Big Bear. Ugh, it gets really nasty.
Wow.
It's fucking disgusting out right now. It's this morning when I drove here at 7, it was so bad.
I've been very lucky down
There
in
you go.
Redondo. No
Are you
smoke.
further? Really?
Yeah.
Because we got to film. I got to film this. I got this V8 Vantage Roadster
Dude,
down there.
Palos Verdes. You're
I
fine.
got to film it. Well, I got to go further. I need like a good road. So I'm thinking maybe we go south, like Ortega or something, tomorrow morning, and try and go. Is there a
Further
map
south?
of like where the smoke is?
Oh, yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
Or
it's
just Google.
it's very
Google's
big.
smoke map.
Yeah, Tanner did a time lapse of the giant plume. It
Oh,
sped up, so it looks
wow.
like a volcano is exploding near
Yeah.
him, but it's just huge plume of smoke going up into the sky.
Yikes. Yeah, it's fucking terrible, man. All of LA is like, I haven't seen really like this ever. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
I mean, it's just very fortunate because you still live right down the street from me. I mean, I don't live in the same place that I did, but not
Yeah.
far. And it's just like it's its own little ecosystem down there that has nothing to do with the rest of the city.
Being on the beach, like at least I get some fresh air at home. But like the second I drive away, like thank God we're sealed in here. We got the HEPA filters in there.
Yeah,
the
not even
cars are
whiff of
good.
it. Yeah.
We're probably gonna have to change those filters out before like half the time, half the lifespan or whatever.
I bet you there's going to be a run on HEPA filters.
Probably.
You'll be paying $600 a piece for them.
Fuck me. Yeah. I'm going to get raked over the coals for them things.
Yeah. So I've been meaning to ask you. So I've been kind of observing what YouTube Premium's been doing to YouTube at large. Obviously, they've jacked up the amount of advertising that they shove into things, right? If you're not on Premium. And then to my understanding, the compensation from Premium to people that are putting significant content out is nowhere near as good. Are you seeing that kind of affect your business, or?
I mean, not necessarily from Premium directly. I mean, we have to do that, put the 4 ads in the video thing. Mm-hmm. We didn't have to do that. And we're not doing that because YouTube provided us an opportunity to make more money. We're doing that in order to stay at the same level that we were before. So are they squeezing tighter? Like, yeah, absolutely they're squeezing tighter.
I think it's just going to be unsustainable in a couple of years.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if it'll necessarily be unsustainable. I think they are aware of the minimum amount of money people are willing to work for.
Yeah.
And that's a real algorithm that they keep tight, and they just kind of know it. And, like, I'm lucky that YouTube serves us in other ways besides pure revenue generation.
Right.
And also that, like, we have opportunities to make, like, YouTube you can never get a raise from, right? You can make more videos.
As a matter of fact, that seems to have gone down over time.
Right. Like, you can never be like, hey, YouTube, like, I've been working hard. Like, I think I should get a raise.
Yeah.
You'll never get that.
Yeah.
You could find a new thing to do that'll be a hit, but that's, you'll never get more.
Well, all the
video.
gaming people just ditched and went straight to Twitch.
Right. And I understand that.
Yeah.
But, like, what we at least have ad sales representation independent of YouTube, where I have to go, hey guys, look at this water bottle, it's a thing. But, like, that, can go up on a per whatever basis.
Well, as your audience
and also
grows.
the podcast has overtaken YouTube.
Figured that was the case.
And I am totally okay with that, actually. Like, it's less labor intensive. We're in here. We're not
worried about getting demonetized all the time.
Can't get a ticket.
Yeah, can't get a ticket. Don't have to drive up the top of a mountain at 6 a.m. to do it. Like, not that I'm going to stop making those videos, but, like,
it's fun, but not when you're doing it all the time.
Well, you want to be able to do the cars you want to do. It's fun when it's a fun car, and it sucks when it's a sucky car. Like, anyone who's been watching the channel might have seen our Cadillac CT5 video. I posted.
I'm so disappointed.
And it was such a terrible experience trying to drive it fast. Like, that wasn't
Did they at least
fun.
give you the rear-wheel drive one, or did they give you the all-wheel?
No, it was the all-wheel drive one.
What
and
are they
I
thinking?
acknowledged in the video, as best I could, that by all accounts the rear-wheel drive one is better. But
Did it just push? Was that the problem?
Well, I wasn't exploring the absolute limits of the handling, but clearly it was not. It has an extra 100 and something pounds in the nose. It's programmed differently. Even Cadillac says it's not a performance all-wheel drive system. It's a snow all-wheel drive system.
Yeah.
And so
it's like a G70 competitor, basically.
I guess, but, like, why are you sending me this in L.A. in August? Like, what are you doing? You know what I mean? So I didn't know. It wasn't like, would you like the all-wheel drive or the rear-wheel drive? It was like, would you like the CT5V? Yes. Like, and that's what showed up. So I didn't realize.
I mean, it'd be different if it had, like, great launch mode because it had all-wheel drive or something, but
it just wasn't. It was not good.
I just
and
pisses
so
me
I
off
would
that
prefer to not have to drive cars that I know I could almost guess ahead of time are going to be not good.
Yeah, it just sucks that they work so hard to get that V brand so that it might have not been popular with the public at large, but people that knew respected it for just being batshit.
Yeah.
And now it's not that.
Well, they're cashing in on the brand equity.
Yeah.
That's what's happening, and not with.
And I enjoy how the high performance ones are going to be the Blackwing without the Blackwing motor.
Yeah, the worst. Everybody's cashing in on the brand equity, though. Like,
Fucking
Zach and
Mustang.
I just drove the Mercedes GT53 AMG, which is an AMG, the first AMG I've ever driven. And I realize that these types of AMGs have been out for a couple of years, but this is the first one I've ever driven. There was an AMG that didn't have the big motor.
This is the straight 6, right?
This is the straight 6 with a turbo and an electric supercharger.
Which is interesting, but
Yes.
not what you're looking for in that car.
Yes, correct. It's interesting, but in an AMG, the debate that Zach and I were having, and it wasn't even a debate because I think we both agree, is that the suspension and the big rims and the sticky tires and the big brakes and the body hugging seats and the jet fucking turbines and all this other stuff serves the big crazy engine and not the other way around.
Yeah.
And if you take away the big crazy engine, the rest of it seems a little over the top for a car that's only kind of fast.
I mean, I get it from a business model to where they can charge 90% of what it would, and then they can bump the big one up 30 or 40%.
Right. Yes.
So it makes sense on that front, but it's still watering it down.
Yeah, it's the Denali to the big one's Escalade. No, it's watering it down. It's interesting though because
BMW's ruined their equity with M. I mean,
well, they all have an S line, an M Performance, and now V means not V anymore with Cadillac, and so they're all cashing in. Some of them are cashing in more honestly than others.
Yeah.
I think AMG is cashing in the most honestly because they actually have the different engine badgings there.
Yeah.
And actually BMW I think does.
and I
as
give
well.
Audi. Audi's been doing it since the beginning. They've always had the
S line.
and then and then the RS.
They called it and the S was always fast, but there was an S line as well
Yeah.
that they called the Sport. They called it the Sport for a while, and then it became S line eventually.
Yeah.
Cadillac is doing it the least, honestly, I think.
Yeah.
Because they just changed their top tier brand down.
Yeah.
And
Although
they are inserting a new one up
at
top.
the same time, we know that when that LT5 powered version of it comes out, it's going to be batshit again.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, okay. And we'll try that one, and hopefully it's better. But this one wasn't bad because of the engine. It was bad because the gearbox wouldn't listen to me. It was not the Mercedes, by the way, the Cadillac. The Mercedes was cool, but it's for the money. It was cool until I brought out some very depressing math. And I'll tell you on the show.
Okay.
It's in the video, but the depressing math is the quarter mile time of the GT53, which as tested was $125,000. Quarter mile time, 12.7 at 109. Not terrible, but not that great, right?
Which is funny because we would have thought that was fast as shit 10 years ago.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Chris Hayes. The quarter mile time of the 2003 E55 AMG. Same number, 9 miles an hour quicker.
Yeah.
2003, 17 years ago.
And those cars are cheap now.
Right. And look, yes, AMG makes the faster one still, the twin turbo V8, which of course is faster than the old AMG E55 by a lot. But the point is that, you've got a turbocharger, a supercharger, a hybrid system.
Everything
You've
to
got a
brake.
9-speed gearbox,
Everything.
all-wheel drive, and it weighs 4,500 pounds, and the performance is a hair behind what you could do, the best you could do 17 years ago.
I think what we're seeing is this weird kind of shuffling right now of like they're having to do this crazy shit to try and kind of creep into where the electric space is.
Right.
And then the electric space is finally starting to eclipse it,
Don't get me wrong, an electric Mercedes I think would be excellent.
Oh yeah, and they'll do it soon.
And
I'm
I
sure.
think they might have, do they have something in the works? Is there an electric Mercedes?
Probably, I'm sure there is.
Lewis
They just
Hamilton, who
announced
I really like.
solid state batteries for buses from
Oh,
Mercedes,
cool.
so I think they're well ahead of the game.
Lewis Hamilton, who I really like and I really respect, I think he's one of the best drivers of all time, if not the best driver of all time. And I'm the biggest
He's catching a lot of unnecessary shit right now, too.
And I'm the biggest Senna fan ever. And I align with him politically in many ways with Lewis Hamilton. But he just said that he's not driving any of his crazy super collectible cars because for environmental reasons, for his carbon footprint, and instead is just driving his, what is that, EQ? Mercedes EQ or whatever. Is that even a real car?
I don't know. This looks very concepty.
I don't think that's a real car. But or maybe it's an FQ, the fuel cell thing or something.
Yeah.
But like, I understand, I appreciate Lewis Hamilton gave up his private jet. That's a
big one. That's a big difference.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
It's noble. But one guy with one ass And as busy as he is, the amount of time he can spend driving his crazy Veyron or whatever, or his
I bet you-
Zonda, that is such a minimal carbon footprint.
Well, he's also he's a team owner and manager for one of the Formula Extreme, like the EV off-road series.
Well, that's cool.
Right. No, so I think if he's doing that, which he is doing for environmental reasons, and he's like a public spokesperson for that, I think he's going, okay, well, if I do that, I probably shouldn't be seen driving around in a gas-burning car.
I think he could also be a little bit pragmatic and obvious of going, these cars are beautiful, collectible works of art. They are incredibly rare, and I drive them 1,000 miles a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They're the Stanley Steamers of the modern era.
Yeah, I think
they're at the end of the run.
I think there's a position to take where as a car collector and a Formula One driver,
Yeah.
where you can go, okay, if the collectible cars are not the problem.
I agree with you, and the problem that you have right now is that you understand nuance, but a lot of the public.
I think Lewis Hamilton understands
No.
nuance.
Oh, sorry. I didn't mean he does too. The general public, or a lot of the public, would see him.
He's making the smart PR play.
Yeah, it's a PR play because he's involved in this electric thing, and he's like, I'm doing this because we need to, talk about climate change. It's a big deal. So he is managing or owns an electric extreme off-road team. So I think it's the PR play.
Yeah.
Because someone would see the two different things, and then they would start tweeting about it, and then it would just get out of control.
Well, look, if he sells all the cars and goes, gasoline is wrong, I don't want to have these anymore, I'm selling all the cars. All right, you're making a statement right now, but if you're going, I don't drive them because of my carbon footprint, come on.
Yeah. It's
I don't know.
the nuance thing, but Zach's right.
I know he's right,
the
but
PR.
I get annoyed when racing drivers are
Isolate that clip,
doing
Zach.
their PR thing. I like racing drivers are cool when they're being themselves. Like no racing
Right.
driver's cool when they're hawking something. They're cool when you see into their actual personality is when drivers become cool.
Yeah.
Is it possible that this is his personality and that's what he actually thinks? He's like, I think I should just drive the EV cars and just keep these gas cars.
I don't know. Someone should do the math for him. That it's not that.
Well,
he should use that platform and say that the cruise line industry should take this opportunity.
cruise line industry
to
needs to-
fucking cut every one of those ships up and turn them into natural reefs.
Very true.
Excuse me, into artificial reefs. That was.
the cruise line
wrong
industry
word.
creates something insane, like a general, decent percentage of all greenhouse gases.
Right.
The cruise lines and shipping, I understand that international shipping is necessary, but there must be a way to clean up international shipping.
I've seen some
They are
interesting
working
things.
on it.
Other than
Like-
burning fucking.
No, they've
what do
got,
they call that?
They're
Nasty
doing.
fuel.
There's some that are experimenting with using sails in conjunction.
Yeah.
I just saw that. Was
Yeah.
it Volvo? Somebody was talking
There's
about.
been a few that have
someone
done
was
that.
talking about sailing cars across the ocean on giant sailor tankers.
Yeah.
which I think is optimistic. Look, I love sailing. I'll fucking sail. Yes. Let's get back on the sailing train.
Yeah.
Fucking Vikings knew some shit. Let's go. The Polynesians, they knew what was up. Let's sail. But I don't think sailing is predictable enough for what we need in commerce.
So I've also seen another interesting one where it's got you've seen the egg beater looking sails before, right? Where they put a couple of those on a ship and it's a retrofit system.
Yeah.
So then it becomes a hybrid where they use that as much as they
As
can.
a generator.
Well, no, they don't even. They use that for propulsion directly, right? And then they use the diesel, just for the little extra push when they need it or when there's not enough wind.
Yeah, motor sailing is basically that's
on a
that is the
massive
thing.
scale.
Yeah. I mean that is a
Total
is that
rendering.
someone's horrible fucking Photoshop?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, but it's like a Gawker site. Oh, yeah.
Like this is obviously a concept. So this is a shipping container ship with giant sails on it. But what Chris is talking about is they've added these egg beater spinners, not to this boat, but the idea is that they
It's
can
a
have them
similar
spinning.
layout,
It charges the thing up and it's a hybrid.
it's a
ship,
hybrid
basically.
system, right? Yeah.
And
It's like
Honda
a
funded this
company-
crazy ship called the Eco Voyager that has spinning sails that then convert seawater into hydrogen and then it propels via
Oh,
hydrogen
yeah.
with
Well,
solar.
they separate the oxygen out
Yeah.
and hydrogen. They run a hydrogen fuel cell motor.
hydrogen
Neat.
vehicles, I think, are ridiculous. That's a cool application of a hydrogen.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
You could probably also use that same system the other way to make fresh water. I
Yeah,
bet
you
you could
could.
use a similar. I bet you that system is linked to a water maker.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
Right? Why wouldn't it be?
Well, I think that's the interesting long game that a lot of people aren't seeing with all the Tesla shit going on is that once we have a sufficient solar grid on the West Coast, that means desal plants become viable because they're just so energy heavy that once we can have desal plants, we can start irrigating the desert.
I mean, that would be the shit.
Yeah.
I've always wondered. I'm not an engineer. I don't know about the exact specific energy usage of desalination of water.
It's astronomical. You need nuclear to do it right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. But it seems like we're okay with that. Like as a society, we're okay
It's a
with
trade-off for right
nuclear
now.
power.
But I mean, if we can do it with solar, why the hell not?
Yeah. I don't know how big of a solar array do you need for it?
You need something, if you were going to do in California, you need 10% of the commercial and residential rooftops to be able to be largely independent of fossil stuff.
Okay.
So
that's probably one of those
that
numbers.
number may
that's
be off, but it's not like
probably,
everybody.
Yeah, but it's probably one of those numbers that's like more than it really sounds like.
Yeah.
10%. It's like, that's like 2 million people.
I mean, that's a big thing. But if you just say all new construction has to have it.
Yeah. Well, they made us solar ready here, and we may put panels on our roof, but I don't want to do it yet because I want a year of bills.
Yeah.
I just want to know.
You've spent enough money.
Yeah, I just want to know. If I'm going to put solar on, I want to be like, here's a year of bills. Am I going to save money or am I not going to save money? Because it's fucking 60 G's or something to put solar on the fucking roof.
I think it's going to be a matter of what the climate control costs are here. That's all.
Yeah, they're not that bad because only the offices and stuff have climate control.
Okay.
The other stuff only has the exhaust ventilation, which is filtered, but because the walls are a foot thick and concrete, and because my roof is reflective white, it's very well insulated. Like we were at our open house weekend, the last weekend, was literally the hottest weekend in Los Angeles history, and it was totally a reasonable temperature. It never went above 80 inside the warehouse.
Nice.
Which is great.
Nice.
Just great. And typically, in the normal LA fluctuations, it's 64 degrees in there, which is great for storing cars.
Especially if you guys are down there detailing and stuff too.
Yeah,
they're not sweating their asses off.
Well, we can turn the exhaust fans on as well, and which provides filtered air through the whole place. Yeah, it's fucking cool in there, man.
Well,
it's
you know what
really
the great
nice.
thing is that when the world explodes later this year, you can bunker in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be breathing filtered air right now. Frankly, I can't believe I'm saying that, but we're there now.
I mean, worst case scenario, if the air quality got real bad, freaking just crash here.
Yeah, right.
On
this beautiful table, under it.
We haven't slept under the table yet.
We should.
Haven't gotten that drunk yet.
Maybe when we get that million subscriber play button, then we'll sleep.
Invite
under the table
Daniel and
release
Aaron
it.
Robinson. You'll get there.
That's a good point. They'll help.
Did anyone have anything real interesting to say, Zach, in the comments?
I mean, people showed up for comments late because they were told to not ask questions. But there was, have we thought of importing an R34 Skyline when they become legal?
Well, of course, we've thought about it, but
I think about it all the time.
come on, they're crazy.
They're
$100,000
$100,000 now.
Yeah, they're
right?
crazy expensive.
Do you feel like you've had your Skyline fixed at this point, though?
No, actually, I think I'd like to have another one at some point. If I bought another one, it would have to have really good working air conditioning, which was the one thing that kind of bummed me out about my other one is the air conditioning didn't work. The guy I sold it to got it working, but I'd like to have another one.
Yeah.
I would. They're really nice cars.
They're cool. I've got a similar itch. I want an Evo 9 MR.
Oh yeah.
To hang on to, not modify, leave it.
Yeah,
because
stock.
that thing will be worth
they're
a
fun
lot of money
stock.
at some
Yeah,
point.
they're a good time. Those cars.
Yeah.
They're nice to drive too.
Yeah.
They're the engines are buzzy, but they're
It's not an all the time car. It's you take it out for 2 hours on Saturday.
It's really fun to beat the piss out of those things.
Yeah, and they weigh nothing.
Yeah, they're good.
That's a great thing.
Yeah.
I would like to put 10,000 miles on a Skyline.
Yeah.
Snow tires, crisscross America kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You said they're very nice. They're good GT cars.
They are.
And all-wheel drive.
Very comfy, very easy to drive. Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah.
Quiet. If you leave them, quiet exhaust. You could build like a 500 wheel horsepower Skyline that had a basically stock exhaust.
Jeez.
That would be totally
There's probably a fair number of Skyline R34s kicking around in Canada at this point, aren't there?
Yes, there are. So there's
You don't have to go far.
They're all waiting at the border wall.
There's a variety of things you could do if you wanted to get interesting with registrations and carnets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
If you had a lot of time on your hands, you could get a Canadian registration on one, drive it across the border for a year, bring it back, come back again.
I've always gone through like the thought exercise of, what if, like Fiesta ST's gone here, right? Would anybody really notice the difference between if you bought one in Europe and brought it over and registered it? Would anybody really notice?
Not very many people, but the wrong person would you get in a lot of trouble. Yeah. There was this guy named Benny Caiola who passed away, and did he
have the Focus RS? The 5-cylinder?
No. This guy is the reason the Pagani Huayra BC exists. BC is this guy's initials.
Okay.
He had multiple Zondas in the U.S. when it was like not kosher to do so.
Was he the one down in Orange County?
He was in New York.
Okay.
He was a New York guy. And he had a Ferrari Enzo and a Ferrari FXX. And he would just put the Enzo plates on the FXX and just drive it around. Because, it's a modified Enzo or whatever.
And the cop that pulled you over and knew what it was is probably going to go,
no idea,
have fun.
Right?
Yeah. The one cop that knows, no, this is an FXX. And you're like, do you care? You're like, definitely not.
Yeah. Someone at Cars and COVID the other day, or COVID and Coffee, the other day had a Porsche that was done up on the outside to look just like a cup car. But it had a full interior, and it was actually like a regular car, just with a really loud exhaust on it.
That's cool.
Like cup shit on it. I think it was a promotional car for the race team.
I like people that do rowdy shit with old Porsches because so many of those guys are stuffy.
Yeah, it wasn't old. It was like a 997, but still, it was kind of cool. Whatever. It's kind of cool.
Did it have cup suspension and stuff on it? Or?
I didn't look. I saw the livery, and I was like, wow, this guy's driving a fucking cup car on the street. And then I was like, it has 18 adjustable power seats. It was a flying lizard car.
Oh, okay. There's someone that built a 991, and it had a livery on it that looked like Porsche's factory team, but it also looked dirty. So it looked like they just got off of 3 races and had fake bug splatter and all that stuff on it. It was pretty cool.
Those are fun.
How good are 997s looking these days?
They're very nice.
Yeah. I saw one guy in my neighborhood had one that he had just painted root beer brown.
Oh, interesting.
Gorgeous.
A friend of mine, one of the guys from Tradecraft Farms, actually, the official ganja of the Smoking Tire podcast, picked up a 997S X51 with nice wheels, Olin suspension on it, very clean car. And it was black or charcoal over red. It was he nailed it. It was a good color.
Nice.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, this guy had the interior was British racing green, too.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. That was nice.
We have a customer who has a crazy paint to sample Turbo S that's got all the cool colored everything on it. I don't want to say too much about it because of our privacy policy, but it's fucking rad.
One of the David Donner, who ran Pikes Peak in a GT2 CS, his livery.
Club Sports.
Yeah,
yes,
Club Sport. His livery was 6 different paint to sample cars, and it was vinyl, but it looked really, really good.
Each panel was different.
They flowed together. They flowed into one another, which is really cool.
Wow, that's cool. Do you have a picture of that? David Donner Pikes Peak.
There's some crazy dealership in Arizona that ordered a Golf R paint to sample. Yeah.
With Harlequin, is that where you're going? with this?
No. What they did is, do you remember when the GT3 RS 4.0 was out and they had that super bright green?
Yeah.
That's what they did it in.
The Kermit green.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
They're still trying to sell it for $60,000 5 years after they bought the damn thing.
Where's the picture of this guy's car?
I don't know. I'm looking at it because he's partnered with 000.
Pop-ups. Oh, I see one of them.
There you go.
Oh, that's rad.
It looked really cool.
Yeah.
That's a good-looking car. Yeah, it's got a lot going on it. Jeff Zwart's car was the shit. The Road Scholars car.
Oh, yeah, the 935.
The 935, that was the shit.
I saw Cannabis new projects there where they're doing the 959s.
Oh, yeah.
Those things are dope.
There's one over at the Peterson. I just dropped the Countach off on Thursday. It's doing an 8-month stint.
That's right. They're doing the supercar.
Supercars show.
Freddie's car is over there, right?
Freddie's car is there as well. Yes, I saw it. And there's a 959 Canepa. There's some. I don't want to give away what's there, but I went down and looked through it. They have assembled some bangers.
Are they actually having people in the door there?
Not yet, but they are opening very soon, and that's why they wanted to have the car staged for it. So I dropped my car off there. Because they're opening soon.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a limited number of people. I'm not sure how it's actually going to work, but I'm pretty sure museums will be able to open soon.
Well, there's plenty.
some
There's
degree.
plenty of space in there. You can do
Right.
it
Yeah.
safely.
It's like the one thing they have is lots of space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can have more room than when you're in a grocery store between you and the next person.
Right. Yeah. If you can go in, I mean, I suppose grocery stores are necessary. or
I
whatever,
agree.
but-
Like that's an essential business museum, isn't it? But like slowly
yeah,
open
but
up.
they're
and make
allowing like
sense.
retail and stuff. If you can have, retail, like you can.
If you can open a fucking Costco, you can open the Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
I
Costco
think-
has food.
Yeah, but it also has people piling on top of each other and with no concept that there's a freaking plague.
I need the samples.
I imagine there's a safe way to do it.
Yeah, totally.
But anyway, it was fun. It was fun to see what they've got going on. It's exciting. But there is a 959 with the Canepa 18-inch wheel upgrade and the lowered suspension. This seems to make like 800 horsepower
And
now.
the entire car is being re-engineered. It's
they're
absolutely
so
crazy.
I think they're $2 million or something like that.
What?
Yeah. It's
So this is
crazy.
different than his Canepa 700 or whatever he made.
No, that's it.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing.
That's like
yeah,
the
it's
series, the
it's
Canepa. Okay.
Yeah, the upgraded blah, blah, blah.
Dom's car is looking fucking sick.
Someone
does it
asked
work?
about this. Yeah, it does. He did a four-wheel drive burnout, like a rolling one. It's really impressive.
That
It's
car,
really
the
impressive.
engineering they put into that thing is.
I mean,
I got a
gotta
lot
be
of
honest.
respect. I told him to see him. I'm like, dude, that's impressive.
Because in the beginning, it seemed like it was kind of just being figured out. And then when I watched it, and then he did like a tied to something burnout. It's like, all right, well, that's a good way to test the drivetrain without, hurting anybody. And then when he's at the point where he's like rolling down the street and just clutch drops and it four-wheel burnout, it's like, oh, your shit is real set up.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it would shatter into 50 pieces. It's pretty sick.
That's cool.
Pretty
Good for
sick.
Rob. All right, cool.
And it looks sick.
It does look cool. Is that the color? That matte like gray?
Yeah, it's like
Matte.
this. It's got some cool matte silver going on.
That's pretty badass. What's that video right there? Is that the dyno video?
Where this?
Yeah, I believe it's a
No,
four-rotor, if I remember
Yeah,
correctly.
it is. Yeah, go down one. Down, left. That. Isn't that, dyno run?
I think
Is
he's
there-
making like 2,000 horsepower.
Is he
or
making
something
2,000
Something
horsepower?
ridiculous like that.
It's all-wheel drive?
Yeah,
Look at this. First pull, 1,000 wheel horsepower.
but yeah, it's all-wheel drive, so he has it disconnected, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that sounds crazy.
Those fenders are gorgeous.
Jeez, that does sound really crazy. All right. Good for Rob. That sounds pretty goddamn wild. Cool. That's amazing.
Yeah. That car
Yeah.
is dope.
Is that the four-wheel drive burnout?
No, this just looks like it's just shooting smoke out of the side pipes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it sounds nuts.
Yeah. Wow.
Good for him. That's
Well, there's
cool.
what, maybe 2 other four-rotors in existence?
Yeah. I mean, that's commitment right there.
Yeah.
I can respect the commitment.
Because he's been making this for
Years.
Well,
really,
you had that
really long
one
time.
four-rotor that got lifted by whatever shipping company, basically.
Like years and years and years.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That's sick. Nice.
That's
All
40% throttle at 10 psi. That's crazy. Insane.
Chris, before we get out of here, you want to promote anything? Shout Engine?
Shout Engine, we're still going. We're like 3,000 shows or something like that now.
3,000 shows?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
They're not all paying, but enough of them are that we're finally running in the black.
Cool.
So that was a long time coming. And then my other company, Guardian Circle, we're launching our new product, Sapio, which is, a lot of people here aren't going to be interested in it, but it's specifically hotel security stuff, and that's why we're doing a lot of business in Vegas right now.
Oh.
I'll get into the details after this, but it could be a very good thing. Put it that way.
All right, cool.
So-
Hotel security. All right, cool. Sweet. Googling Guardian Circle really gets you some interesting stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, these are all the Shout Engine shows.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of Jesus happening
Oh,
on
there's-
Shout Engine right now?
And they
Well,
all
here's the
use
great
the
thing
same
is it's
stock
like-
photo.
most
They're all
most
using-
of the time, these people that do the Jesus shows can't figure out how to do an episode. They just create a new show every time.
Oh, my God.
That's what's happening.
Oh, I get it.
Yeah.
They create a new show every time.
There's so many at this point. It's ridiculous.
It's pretty cool that you made this platform, though, and that it's
Yeah.
still going. And, I mean, obviously we use it, but like lots and
number
lots
one,
of people
dude.
use it. Show number one.
Show-
It was show
one.
number. I mean, I built it because there was no good option for us at the time.
Still isn't.
So, we've
Thank
had
you,
some
sir.
dealings with people that didn't work out. That's for sure.
Yeah. But PMM is good. We like them.
I do like them, and
PMM.
I want to spend more time working with those guys,
Yeah.
actually. So,
thanks for coming by, man. I'm glad you could see the new spot.
yeah, it's really nice, man. Congrats on
cool.
finally getting this thing up and running. I
Yeah.
remember the early days when you were just like, I want to do the thing.
I want to do the thing, and then 5 years of like, oh my God, can the thing be over?
Can you believe
Let's
the
finish the thing?
Podcast's 9 years old?
I know, crazy. How
wasn't
many
even-
episode is this? 560
This would
something.
be 559.
559.
Yeah, you guys have stepped up the releases a lot since I left, too.
We do 2 a week now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But 2 a week has that paid off. It
Yeah.
took like 8 months of that for it to pay off, but it did.
Yeah, it changes the algorithm for you a lot.
It does. And also making the new channel paid off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, good. I'm glad everything's grown so much.
It's all good, bro. Thanks for coming by. That's our show, folks. We are back. Who do we have in on?
We have Justin Bell coming
Oh, yeah,
in this
Justin
week.
Bell Thursday. And then we've got my wife's boss at Twitter.
Right.
Who's like the number
Oh, Hannah's at Twitter now.
Hannah works at Twitter, yeah. And,
Okay.
and her boss is like the number 3 at Twitter who reports directly to Jack Dorsey. And he's into cars, and he's, he works at a high level at an important company at an important time, and he's interested in
God,
talking
I
to us.
wish I knew that she was at Twitter about 3 weeks ago.
I'm sorry. Is it too late to know now?
No, it's good. We got everything sorted. They accidentally shut off our corporate account
Oh,
for like 2 months.
She literally 3 weeks ago. She might not have been at Twitter. She started on August 10th at
Yeah.
Twitter, so it's pretty close.
Yeah, when there was all that hacking that went on,
Oh yeah.
they accidentally shut us down, and it was impossible to get a hold of anybody.
Oh,
That was
whoops.
a very interesting day for them
Yeah.
and for everybody else who was watching.
No, so we got a good rest of the week. So thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you guys later. The Smoking Tire Podcast is powered by Shout Engine. Get your own damn podcast at shoutengine.com. It's easy. Although apparently for some Jesus freaks, it's not that easy. All you need is a microphone, a connection to the internet, and ideally something to say. Good night.